Greetings, family. Greetings, family. It is yours truly, Amari. I am the founder of Pele Movement. My queen, Amari, is the co-founder. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Want to send a shout out to Queen Rhonda Moore in the building. Greetings, Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, everybody tuning in on today. This is your African Studies program with your brother Amar Mari and our brother straight from the motherland, straight from Nigeria. Our Igbo brother who was reared in his culture is coming on today to give us authentic African exposure to our culture today. Kuji Chagalia. You must learn from us, about us, by us. That's what we must do. And so today we're going to be talking about the Igbo people on today, the Igbo way of life. If you would be so kind at this time to share and invite, that'd be great. Want to send a shout out to my Ohima, my queen, my Olori, Amari in the building. Alongside of every great man is a powerful woman. Thank you, my queen, for all your love and support. And at this time, family, if you'd be so kind to share and invite, we want to extend a courtesy to our brother on today. He's taking out his time to come on here, brother Fred Uzo, to talk to us about the Igbo culture on today. All right? So as we all know, we're not black. Okay? We're Africans in America. We're Africans throughout the diaspora. And this is the purpose of this. It's Nia. Nia is the purpose, to restore our people back to their traditional greatness. This is the goal of these programs. So make sure you stay tuned in on this week also. I have a Babalua coming on from Nigeria, born and raised, who's Yoruba. He'll be on this week. Baba Falajiki will be on to share with us the Yoruba culture, rather, and Ifa. We get ready to get started. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I want to say peace and blessings to you, brother Fred Uzo. Thank you so much for joining us, my brother. How you doing today? Can you hear me, my brother? Okay. If you could check your volume, please.
All right, my volume is high now. Can you hear me?
There you go. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good.
Wonderful. We thank you so much for tuning in. As we were coming in, I noticed that you were waving an item in front of us.
Right.
I noticed your beads. I noticed your African attire. What is that that's you're holding in your hand?
What I'm holding here is the staff of truth. It's called the staff of truth. I get it from my grandfather. And my grandfather gave me this before he died. And it's the staff of truth. With this, as long as I stand for the truth, nothing will ever happen to me. As long as I stand for the truth, and as long as I do what is right, based on my culture, African tradition, based on my culture, where I come from, my ancestors will always guide me and protect me and make sure nothing happens to me as the son of the land from the Igbo.
I say. So what spiritual practice does that come from?
With this, when I speak the word and hit it on the ground, things begin to happen. It's a very strong staff. You can't be doing evil and be holding this. He's
Hmm.
gonna deal with you.
What spiritual practice does that come from? What spirituality system does the Igbo practice in Nigeria?
Well, we have a culture. The Igbo have a culture. We have a culture that we stand for, and this culture was introduced to us by our ancestors. And whatever we ask for, we plead with our ancestors because they are the ones that introduced this culture to us before the second century that the white man came into Africa and brought Christianity. And yeah, when the white man brought Christianity into Africa, I mean, we don't know what it is. It is a white man culture. That is not our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a white man culture. They just brought it to Africa, and the reason why you see some Africans turn into Christianity, I mean, is because of people have, go into it. It is free, and it is still a choice that if you want to, it's a choice. But our tradition still remain our tradition. You will end up seeing that whatever you're doing as an African, as an African human being, you still go by your culture.
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever you want to do, your culture is still involved in everything you do in your life.
That's right. And so, with that being said, why is it important for us to connect ourselves with our culture and our spirituality,
So
in your opinion?
okay, are you asking how can how can are you talking about Africans or are you talking about African Americans?
I'm talking about us across the board, throughout the diaspora, those of us who are not in tune with our African mind because we've been cut off from our culture. So why is it then important for us to reconnect with our culture, to familiarize ourselves with our culture? Why is that important?
Well, first and first, it is very important to know where you're coming from, and it's very important to know your identity. Then you can know where you're coming from to know uh, where your culture, which culture do you belong to. It is very, very important because any human being who doesn't know where he or she is coming from, it is a big problem. So it is very important for every human being, every man and woman, you know,
Mm-hmm.
living on this earth to find exactly where they are coming from, identity, because there are too many cultures in Africa, but they are all the same thing, but it just is different processes. So, um, the white man made up something about the DNA that people can go through DNA,
Mm-hmm.
and with that, it could be of help for anyone to know, particularly where they are coming from, because I so much believe that every different color that is in European, American, Australia, Asian country that have the same color like mine. came from the slave trade. They are coming from somewhere in Africa that have the same color that I have.
Mm-hmm.
How there is a connection which people didn't know about that, but you can know if you don't try to find out
That's right.
the identity where they are coming from, you know. And it's good to know where you know where you're coming from, then you know who you are.
Ah,
If
ah,
if you don't know where you're coming from, you
right.
know who you are. Yeah, you know, some people are born and raised in some international countries like European, American, uh, uh, Spanish countries, all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not their origin. That is not their origin. So you have to know the origin where you come from, where your blood comes from. You see, so when you know that, then you can be able to know the culture that you're supposed to involve yourself into. Because no matter what you do with the Christianity or with the laws of the land,
Mm-hmm.
you still have tradition that you still have to go through if you are from Africa. And you can't forget your tradition. You can't overlook your tradition. If it is a taboo if you overlook your tradition, you don't know what you're doing. Because so much thing involves your tradition, your culture. That is, when I talk about tradition, I also mean your culture. You understand? So when you know your culture, when you know where you come from, the blood where you come from, then you can know talk about your culture, the culture you belong into. You must belong somewhere. You understand? You didn't just come out of the world and start living on your own. It wasn't like it is not like that. So
I,
there is an origin where you come from, your ancestors come from. So that is it.
yes, that is good, my friend. So before you and I came on, we had a wonderful dialogue. And how long did you live in Africa before you transitioned to America? Because as you know, I met you um, here in Tennessee. So how long, did you live in Africa, and how was your upbringing in Africa? Were you raised in your tradition? Did you practice your African spirituality? Talk to us about your life in the motherland before you came to the Americas.
Well, as the son of the soil of Africans, I was really taught and raised in my tradition because that's where I come from. And I can't forget where I come from. This is where I was. This is my origin. I'm
Mm-hmm.
so proud of my origin
Mm-hmm.
because that's where my ancestors came from. I was raised in my culture, and I was told about the white man culture also, which is the Christianity. And there is nothing wrong about believing that too. And I still believe in my culture too,
Mm-hmm.
which is my tradition. You know, the Christian religion talk about the capital letter G, which is God. And when you come to African culture, we talk about the small letter G, which is the gods of the land, you know, which we plead through the ancestors. So yeah, I was raised in by my great grandfather, my grandfather, my
Yes.
father. You know, it is a good one, and a lot of things was taught to me about that. You know, things that you have to do and things you don't have to do. Things you have to follow up as a man, because we are raised as a warrior. We are raised as a warrior, and that's what the men are.
Yeah.
Men are raised to be a warrior. Men are raised to be a warrior in Africa, and that's what we stand for. We go out there, we hunt the meat, we bring it to the house, and our wife will prepare a delicious meal and welcome us home with respect. Our men are raised to be a warrior, just like I said, a hero, a strong man, a man with moral, a man with dignity and principles. And our women are raised by the parents on how to be submissive to their husband. For example, for example, in my culture, in my culture, there are things that we practice, that that keep uh that keep because in my culture we don't believe in divorce. We don't believe in divorce. All of these come from the white man. There is something like divorce. There's something like divorce. We don't believe in it. We don't do all of that. Before you get married before you get married, if you are from Africa, before you get married, your great grandfathers, your fathers, your elders will ask you question upon question as you agree to marry this man. Because there's no turning back. There is no turning back. Even if the man is killing you, you got to be there. You accepted that. So you got to be there. As long as the man pay your dowry, as long as the man, uh, as long as the man pay your dowry, that's it. That's what they call dowry. That is a bride price. As long as the man pays for that, there is no going back.
Now the dowry, as you had told me before, explain that, because some people may think that when you're paying a dowry, you actually buying a woman, and you broke that down for me so well the other day when we talked about that. So explain how does the dowry work in the African culture, so we can get this misperception about the dowry, like the woman doesn't have any say and things of this nature.
No, 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 no. It's not like that. The dowry, the dowry does not mean that you are buying the woman. No, no, you are not buying nobody. You are just proving yourself as a man that you are ready to take care of this woman.
Say it again, brother.
You understand what I'm saying? You are just proving yourself that you are that hero that your parents raised you to be, to take care of this woman, that you are ready to pay whatever they want you to pay, and you are ready to take care of this woman. This is your proof. You are proving to your elders that you are up to the game as a man to take care of your family. And it is not only that you have to pay. There is a lot of things you have to do when you want to get married to an African woman. You have to pay the dowry. You have to buy boxes of clothes for the woman. You have to buy clothes. You have to buy clothes for the mom. You have to buy clothes for the mom. You have to show that you are equal to the time. You have to show that you are capable to take care of their daughter when they hand you over their daughter in your hand as your wife.
Wow.
So anyone who tell you that paying dowry means that you are buying the woman is not saying it right. That is not what my African tradition mean. It means that a man is proving himself that he is capable to handle a home and take care of this woman.
Uh-huh. Our brother Marcus Bremer said, romance before finance is a nuisance. And for those who don't know, our brother is a former UFC fighter. So if you want to learn some martial arts, go check our brother out. Brother Marcus, thank you so much for tuning in. He fought McGuire, if you don't know. So because we talking about being a warrior, so I want to acknowledge my brother being that warrior out there, fighting. So my brother, if you would please continue to talk about that, because so many people before marriage, I noticed that some people that, they really feel like, well, I don't need marital counseling. And, so it sounds like to me, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, prior to being married, the elders ensure that the man and the woman is ready by asking a series of questions to see where they're at mentally, and also to see where the man is at economically. Am I understanding you correctly?
Get married to a woman.
Yes.
To get married to a woman, you have to make sure that you are equal to the tax. You can say you wanna get married to the woman and you don't have nothing to show that you can take care of this woman.
Whoo. Wow. This is powerful, because I personally feel like if we just follow after the tradition, that we would avoid a lot of chaos. Just like our brother was saying, he said romance before finance is a nuisance. I agree with that, because a lot of us go into a relationship ill prepared because we lack the wisdom of elders that are wise. To be frank with you, because they may be older than us, but they're not wise up here. And so as I'm listening to you, I'm seeing that we are in need to go back to our culture and to establish, the tradition once again, where the elders are knowledgeable and wise enough. Because I know you said your grandfather taught you your culture. Then I noticed that you said before the married couple got married, the elders were involved there. So I notice how backwards we are now, how we're the ones teaching our elders because they don't know their tradition. But when I'm listening to you, I'm seeing how much of a more of a need that we are for these type of programs, so that we can get a better understanding how things actually work. If you would, please, my brother, please continue.
All right. So back to what I was saying. Before a woman will be ready to go into a man's house as his wife, she must be really prepared by her mom, her mom, and and the dad must have already told her, bring her up in the proper way to be a mother. In a proper way to be a mother, because that is what she's about to face now, to be a mother. And there is nothing like marriage counseling when it comes to a tradition, because your mother, excuse me, your parents must have already taught you that from your childhood. When you are growing with it. When you are growing, Your mom, your dad will be teaching you all that you need to know as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
That is why that is why it takes two to bring a child, and it takes two to raise a child. So when a kid is growing, your father, your mother will be taking you through with the tradition, with the respect, with the obedience that you're supposed to have as a full-blooded African.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will be taught on how to respect your husband. You will be taught on how to respect your elders
Yes.
as a woman. And you will be taught on how to fight and defend your home. And as a man you will be taught on how to provide, on how to be a warrior, a hero for your family,
Yes.
and always be there for your kid that represents you as a man.
Mm-hmm. Talk
In
about it.
elders, we have the man with the red cap. The red cap simply means a chieftain's man. You are a chieftain's man. You are being crowned by your king to wear a red cap, just like I'm wearing right now. It means wisdom. So in every community, they have an elder. And before you be appointed to be an elder, the community must make sure that you are a very wise man that can stand as an elder in your community. So in our tradition, when it comes to our tradition in marriage aspect, our women have already been taught and they understand that. And that is the reason why you see our women, they are very submissive to their husband. And some of the international women will see them and they will be looking at them like, man, you let this man be controlling you. This man,
Mm-hmm.
you let this man controlling you. This is not how it should be. And when they see the man over here, they say the man is a controlling man. They get it all wrong. They get it all wrong. We have our culture on how we was raised. That was how we was raised, and that is how
Mm-hmm.
our women was raised. We are raised to know there are things to respect, and there are
Mm-hmm.
things that are guidelines
Mm-hmm.
that you have to follow up in the ways of life, in the ways of living. And the same thing you're gonna teach your kids in that way when they are growing up, they will not depart from it.
Hmm. Now this is powerful. So there's an initiation then, what I'm gathering from the men acknowledging another man as actually being a man. Is that correct? So there is an actual initiation to manhood.
Well, it's it's not like it's not initiation. It is the ways of the living, the ways of the life that we understand that this is how our forefather taught us, and this is how this is what we should abide on, and it must be abide on. And when you look at those things, the way they said it, that we should abide on this. There is a reason, and when you try to figure it out, you will know that if you do it this way, the ancestors said, things will be right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if there is no law, everybody will be messing up. And
Mm-hmm.
if nobody is respecting the law, everybody will be messing up. So this tradition have equally helped the system of marriage to keep lasting long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because In African tradition, first of all, I mean, when you get married to a man, a cloth will be issued to you as a woman to put on the day of your traditional wedding. When you put on that clothes and you sleep with another man out of your marriage, God will strike you dead. If the God didn't strike you dead, your third son will be in a terrible sickness, and that will draw the attention of the elders to try to find out what has happened. And by when they consult the ancestors and the oracles and the gods, because of everything that have already happened, that the wife have slept with somebody else, and the wife have to confess. And there are certain steps to follow to please the gods, so that the gods will forgive the woman for sleeping with somebody else. So
wow, that's powerful.
When you marry to an African man, when you want to get married, you should know what you're getting yourself into. It's not a child's play. Like people here in America, we get married, after 2 years, they will divorce. It's not like that in Africa. They play here in America with the marriage. You are not ready to get into marriage, don't talk about it. Even I read in my Bible some time ago, I read in my Bible that it is an idolatry. It is an idolatry when you divorce. Divorce is idolatry. I read that in my Bible, that divorce is idolatry.
What about the men that sleep with someone else? That's a question from my queen in that regard. What about the penalty for a man that does that? Because you talked about the penalty for a woman.
Okay. Well, when it comes to the man, if the man sleep with somebody else, the same thing will happen to the man. But men are entitled to have more than one wife.
Okay, so polygamy is practiced.
It's not a practice, it's a choice.
Okay. All right.
It's a choice.
Because
you are not allowed to divorce your wife. And the only way to go about it is to marry a second wife. Divorce is not allowed. Divorce is not allowed.
Now, what would happen, brother, if they do get a divorce? How is that looked upon in the midst of the people?
It's an abomination.
So will they be shunned from the village? Like, will they be excommunicated from the village?
No, they will not be excommunicated. They will not be thrown out as an outcast. But it is an abomination, and it is a bad reputation to the family.
Oh, okay. All right.
And no family wants to have a bad reputation. And every woman in Africa wants to be married. Every woman in Africa wants their king. Every woman in Africa are expected to be married. This is how they were raised, and this is how they will continue to be raised. And this is what they believe, and which is the right thing. A woman is not meant to be alone.
So the question in the audience is whoremongering or okay to be practiced by men?
What is that? Say that again.
whoremongering. Other words, the man he can go outside of the marriage and do whatever he want to do, and there's no penalty for the man. What you're saying?
No, a man cannot go out of the marriage and do what he wants to do. It is not allowed. It is not allowed.
So is this biblical stuff, or is this actually traditional, like from the culture?
This is from the culture. We are not talking about Bible here. Bible is a white man culture. This is what my white man brought in Africa. We don't know anything about the Bible when we talk about African culture. African Bible was brought by a white man in the second century. Before that, Africa has their culture, which they are living on. So we don't know anything about Christianity after the second century that the white man came into Africa and brought Christianity.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to some other questions. All right. So, let's deal with the Igbo people and spirituality. So the other day, you and I, we had a discussion, and you said that what you call the creator. What does the Igbo call the creator? You said something about it's the God of the land. Is explain that to us about what the God of the land is, and how do you view the creator as the Igbo people? Let's go with that first.
Well, like I said earlier, that when it comes to creator, when it comes to creator, this is what the Bible said: there was a creator. There was a creator. So there is nothing like that. Even just when you come in the scientific world, there is nothing like a creator. But creator comes from the Bible. But when it comes to tradition, all we know is the gods of the land. And we pray through the ancestors.
Okay. All right. So the ancestors. So you pray to the ancestors. So how does that work? Praying to the ancestors. How does that ceremony go? Do you pay
it's not praying to the ancestors. There is nothing like prayer. It's not praying to the ancestors. When you convert the ancestors, you talk to them.
Okay.
You talk to them like you consult them. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, we have the way we consult our ancestors. We call them, in the morning time, we call them, we consult them, we greet them, we welcome them, we ask them to, to bless our day, for them to make sure that our day is blessed. And as long as we are doing the right thing, and we are not finding our hands in no evil, you get what I'm saying? So we program the day with them, and with our belief, it's working for us. Back in those days, we don't have nothing like no disease. There is no disease in Africa. We don't have nothing like that. We don't even have, back in those days, we don't even have no clothes like this. All of this was brought by a white man. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no disease. And I mean, if we are sick or something, we just go in the bush and get some leaves and mix it together and drink it, and we'll be fine. That's how we do our medication. You get bitten by a lion, you come back, we just go in the bush, bring some leaves, bring it all together, and just to get you healed. So I mean, there is nothing like sicknesses. But white man brings some good things, and white man brings some things that are not good in the culture.
Now, libations. How does your people do the libation ceremony? How does that work? Do you take a knee? Do you use liquor, water? How does that ceremony go for libations?
Yeah, we use liquor. We use like white liquor. We throw it in the ground, do some incantations. With the ancestors, call them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's how we do it. We try. I do it sometimes. Most of the times. I do it. Put it on the. You know, put it on the. Make sure it goes on the ground directly. You know, I give my I give my ancestors first of all before I take mine. You know what I'm saying? To please the gods, you got to please the gods in anything you do. You please the gods. You're trying to please the gods. Even that Bible that was brought in Africa, it says, "Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give God what belongs to God." The system is compromised.
Now, do you feel like there is a difference, between Africans in America and Africans in Africa? Like, and if you do feel like there's a difference, what is that difference? Because I personally see the difference. Like, I know the difference between you, what I'm saying? And I know the difference between myself. I notice the difference between you, and I notice the difference between other Africans in America who was not reared in their customs like you have. So with that putting on the table, talk to us about if you see a difference and what is that difference.
But there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of differences when it comes to difference between African American and and uh, um, and a true African person that come from the mother's land. There is a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know why I told you there was a difference?
Mm-hmm.
Why I told you there's a difference is because whoever that come from the motherland was born and raised with the culture,
Mm-hmm.
fully born. It's just like he or she is equipped within his culture, and you can't take him out of his culture
Hmm.
because this is what how he was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they believe in Christianity, he or she still believe in his culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we also remember that Christianity was borrowed. It came from a white man. That is not our culture.
Mm-hmm.
But we believe on it because it is good. I mean, it's free. I mean, we didn't see anything bloody being a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
the way it was interpreted.
Well, I wouldn't say that because that one ceremony that they call communion says they're going to eat of the body of Mashiach and drink of his blood.
Yeah, I mean, they try to do what Jesus Christ did. You get what I'm saying? Because of the cross of the Calvary and when he died on the cross of the Calvary. I mean, they try to do the holy. I mean, that is it. But
Right.
that is
But now
white man culture.
but let's home in on the difference. Like what is the difference that you see between an African in America and an African in Africa who he or she was raised in their culture? Like talk to us about the difference that you see.
There's a lot of different. I don't even know where to begin, but I'm going to start from somewhere. Because I mean, the white man, the white man have told the African American very different thing. They hold to a different thing, you know, which they believe on, and they grew up with that. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Especially when it comes from let me start from doing the slave trade. That was the 15th from the 15th century. From the 15th century, when slave trade came to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the white man first of all came for our grand, and which is yeah, call it here donut, or I mean yeah, call it here is it cashew nut or what? But we call it granite, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now after that, they came for our tomatoes
Mm-hmm.
and start shipping it to their countries. Now after that, then I start looking to our people. They would deceive our forefathers,
Mm-hmm.
and this was how slave trade started in
Mm-hmm.
Africa.
Hmm.
And this happened so badly in the center of Africa, which was Senegal and the Gambia. That is where you have the center of Africa, and that is where you have the Atlantic Ocean that connects the whole Africa. When they bring the slave trade from Nigeria, when they bring the slave trade from Ghana, when they bring the slave trade from different parts of Africa, they
Mm-hmm.
all come together in center of Africa, the Atlantic Ocean, which is in Goria Island, Senegal.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
But
Okay, so the difference that you notice basically is due to slavery. I'm gathering what you're saying is the difference that you see is culture. You see
yeah,
that
the
we
different,
socialize differently.
I would say the African American have been messed up mentally because of they were raised in agony. They were raised in agony. They were raised in agony because of I would say because of the slave trade issues, you know, because of the slave trade issues, they were raised in agony, seeing their forefathers being maltreated because a lot was done. But different countries that participated in the slave trade have come to
Mm-hmm.
Africa and raised their hand and say, Africa, we apologize.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Now, Queen Poetas, she said the difference is the Africans that come from here, that come here rather, young, are raised here, and they start viewing their traditions as evil and stick to Christianity. They lose their culture and take on the way of life of the oppressor's belief. It's a part of survival, but many will practice traditional upbringings of their parents behind closed doors. Okay. Our brother Marcus, he said he didn't even know pouring out liquor was an African tradition. You see that? Pouring libations, um, things that we do is in our DNA, the way we dance. And what I notice is, I'm gonna speak for myself. In my observation, I've actually experienced what a Christian would call catching the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? When the Spirit moves on a person in voodoo, or the Spirit moves on a person in Ifa. What I notice is that just like they have what they call ushers, because I grew up in the church, so I grew up seeing these things. This person, the Spirit hits this person, and now I don't know if a lot of us recognize that. You know what I'm saying? That even the Caucasians got uh the supernatural encounters from the African people. You know what I'm saying? We were the ones who started the Pentecostal and the apostolic movements. You understand? And so what I notice is that in the temple, the ushers would stand around the person who was quote unquote, hit by the Spirit, slain by the Spirit, caught the Holy Spirit, whatever term they want to utilize. And I noticed that I watched a voodoo service, and the same thing happened. The same exact thing happened. They had the women stand around, that were priests, and they had the priests and the priestesses stand around the person, or the other helpers that were part of who've been initiated. And if this person caught the spirit, they would stand around this person and make sure that they don't go crazy or hurt themselves. The same dude, the same exact.
Okay, let me come to this. In African tradition, we call ancestors. The gods. These stand for justice. They don't support evil. But you see other people, you see other Africans doing all kinds of voodoo powers. That does not have anything to do with the culture. So let me explain it here so people will get it right. When it comes to African culture, our culture has nothing to do with anything evil. We call upon our ancestors, our forefathers, our ancestors. They don't support no evil. So, but you see other people practicing voodoo powers, magic powers. That has nothing to do with African culture. You know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with African culture. That is its own. That is a separate ceremony of its own that people do practice. Which I know all those gods are those gods that they have in Egypt. People worship them and they become evil, and that's where you have all those statues
Mm-hmm.
that they worship, all those statues. You see all those statues that people worship, those statues that come from Egypt. So many kinds of them. They even bring some of them here in America, which some people worship here and have all kinds of confraternities. All those, let's go back. All those gods are most of them from Africa and some of them from the Egypt.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you make a mistake and say that voodoo doesn't have anything to do with African culture? Because that was caught by a viewer, my queen. She had posed that question. She actually made a statement. He says that voodoo has nothing to do with African culture. That sounds like that was more so a mistake. Is that right? Because spirituality
is a practice. It's a practice from some Africans. Is a practice from some Africans which can be used in the right way and which can be used in the wrong way. It can be used in the right way and it can be used in the wrong way. So people use the voodoo powers. It is a chamber of its own. This is another chamber culture of its own. You get what I'm saying? So, but it is different from our African culture that we believe. Now, if you want to consult the voodoo power, that is a different temple of its own. But African culture, it is African culture.
Absolutely.
It has nothing to do with evil, and that's why our ancestors stand for justice.
Absolutely, I agree. So let's move on to another topic of discussion, because I've heard some Hebrew Israelite people say that the Igbos are Hebrew Israelites? Okay. You and I, we had this discussion before we came on here. Are you a Hebrew Israelite?
Okay, when it comes to the Bible says that the Igbos are the Israelites is because when you come to Africa, the Igbos are the ones that always that they are the majority of the ones that believe in Christianity, which is the Israelites. The Israelites are known as the Christian when it comes to the Igbo side. When it comes to Christianity in Nigeria, Christianity in Africa, they are recognized as the Israelites.
Mm-hmm. But do you call yourself a Hebrew? Like anybody in your family that you know that reared you up, did they teach you that you are a Hebrew Israelite? Did you ever hear
No,
that?
they don't teach us that we are the Hebrew, but they teach us that
Okay.
we are the Christianity. We are the Christian.
Okay. All right. All right. So now, far as the Moors, as you and I talked about, when you were raised up, did anybody raise you up and teach you that you are a Moor?
Look at what this someone says. Voodoo is a part of African culture. Is it a question or is she trying to tell me?
It's a statement. She's just making a statement. It's not even a
Okay,
question. She's just making a statement.
well, voodoo is not. I mean, voodoo is not part of African culture, but it is a temple of its own in Africa. It is a separate temple of its own in Africa, but it has nothing to do with our culture. Our culture has things to do with the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
So it has nothing to do with voodoo power. Voodoo power is a temple of its own, which you can consult if you want to consult them. And some rather go to voodoo temple, and some rather go to the ancestors to tell them to tell the ancestors their problem or to consult the ancestors.
Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you why people keep saying, I want to explain to you why people keep saying that it's a part of African culture. It's because that it comes from us. Because spirituality is a way of life. And that's what culture is. It's a way of life. And spirituality, like voodoo and Ifa, it's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So this is the reason why people continue to keep contesting that, because that's the reason why. Because culture consists of your spirituality, consists of language, it consists of your mindsets. You know what I'm saying? It consists of your food, music. You know that's the reason why people keep contending that as well. So I just wanted to put that on the table, so we can have a better understanding about why people keep rebuttaling that it's not, because really, in all actuality, it is, because it's a part of our way of life. All right, but nevertheless, we want to get on to people who want to move to Africa. I know they have some concerns in regards to how things work over there. So we're going to finish it out with this. We're going to finish it out with now loans, because there's some things I heard about the difference between Africa and living in America. So let's deal with the loan situation. Does Africa deal with credit and deal with loans where you're from?
Well, there is nothing like credit in Africa. Africa don't do nothing like credit, but when it comes to loan, when I've when when you want to get a loan, you can get a loan of whatever you want to, but you must have to present a collateral. You must have to present a collateral like up to 75% of what you are requesting for.
So you said collateral. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I just want to make sure people understood you. All right. Please, if you would, please continue.
So without collateral, ain't nobody gonna give you no loan. You must have to present to the you must have to present to uh, uh, whatever company that want to lend you, loan you any financial help, that you have to show them that even if you didn't pay, they have a means of getting their money back.
Mm-hmm.
And without that means, they will not give you anything.
Okay. So now, a lot of people over in America, we keep
And
hearing about this susu
and
thing.
African African doesn't like going for loan except it's a business sector.
Okay.
Maybe like a business, maybe you own a company, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean they are the one that or do use loan for things that they do. But as a private individual, if just few people that do loan, but majority prefer to work for their money and save their money, and do whatever they want to do. You
All right.
understand?
So Cohen, you asking the question, Cohen Davis, you asked the question, is he speaking for the whole Africa? With all due respect, brother, I asked him in his area. I never said in the whole continent of Africa. All right. So I just want to make sure you understand that. Maybe you came at the tail end of that question, but that's the question I asked him. All right. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. All right. Now, we hear a lot about the susus. Okay. So do you practice susus over there? And from your understanding, it's a two-part question. What is a susu?
Well, Susu, I mean, Susu doesn't come from my own, from my own uh, part of Africa where I come from. But I think that is a culture that is being practiced in Kenya, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right. And so with that being said, I heard about over there too about welfare. Okay. Um, is there a system over in your area, like over here, where people have financial assistance from the government should they find themselves rather, excuse me, in a financial dilemma?
Well, yes. Over over from from when you are out of Africa, and maybe you are in other countries, we always have organizations. We always have organizations that has a connection with our local government area, and also in our rural area in Africa, the country where we come from, majority of us, and which also connects to the governor of the state in Africa, and also that connects to the embassy of the country that we find ourselves in the abroad. And this organization, when we have it in the international countries that we are, yes, we have financial assistance to our brothers and sisters, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I mean, we do it on our own. And if it is above us, then we can consult the embassy, and the embassy, we have to do something about it. If it's too much for them, then they have to reach the Republic of Nigeria.
Okay. Excellent. All right. So now, what about when it comes to buying land? Because I have a friend that's over there, in Ghana, in the Ghana area specifically, and in that particular region, what I noticed is that a lot of people who wanted to buy land, they had to go through the chiefs. You know, so in Nigeria, amongst your people, amongst the Igbo people, amongst your people, how does it work if somebody wanted to get land over there? And I'll say two-part question. And also, is there taxes? Is there land taxes over there like there is in America?
Well, if you want to buy a landed property in Nigeria, most of the land are sold by the government. So before the government will start selling the land, they have already reached to the chief of the land, the king of that rural area, of that community. They have already settled all the settlements which they have to settle. And the exchange of the ownership, the whole document will be put on one envelope for the buyer. So once you buy it, you buy the whole package. But others that want to go direct to the community and buy from the community, it is another process. It is a different process. And some that find themselves buying direct from the owner of the land, it is a different process. And when you buy land, there is a consultation that nobody does traditionally when you buy a land in Igbo land.
Mm-hmm.
Some will tell you have to kill a goat. So it doesn't mean you have to kill that goat, but you have to bring the money for the goat for someone buying the land. You get what I'm saying? So, but you will have every package that you need to have. And once you buy a land, you have to pay for development fee. There are fees that you have to pay. And when you start building, then you will have the youth. There are taxes that you have to pay before you start putting a structure on your land.
Yeah, you know, that had answered the next question because my queen, she had posed that question as well. She wanted to know about the land taxes as well. So is that the land tax that you're referring to?
Yes, that is the land taxes. When you start building, they have a development fee. It's just like the land taxes. They have a development fee, which you have to pay. But when you're doing all of this, you have to make sure you're doing you going with the true source of it. You know what I'm saying? Because most of people will try to scam you.
Yeah, we heard about that.
So you have to make sure that you are dealing with the right people, because if you don't deal with the right people, you will be scammed.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So now, annual tax, or is that just a one-time fee to buy?
To buy a land is a one-time fee. Once you buy the land, the document of the land will be given to you, and that is for you. You own the land. Now, if you want to start a development on the land, you have to pay for development fee.
Okay.
With that fee will come whenever you are ready to put a structure on the land.
Okay. Now, over there, do you guys deal with credit scores? Like over here, you got to have a certain score in order for you to get a loan. You got to have a certain score to get car insurance.
No. And majority of Africa doesn't believe in going for loan. They believe in working hard to make their own money and do whatever they want to do instead of going for loan. When they wanna buy a car, they pay cash for it. It's hard for you to see an African man paying credit, having a car payment for car in Africa. Africa don't do that. They pay cash to buy their car. They pay cash for their car.
See, that's why they're not in debt over there like that. So now check this out. The next question is from Brother Cohen Davis. He actually said, how about an official registry to ensure this stuff is being legally documented? So in other words, do you have a registry there to make sure that everything, all the paperwork is being done so you won't get scammed?
Right. So when you buy it from the government,
And by the way, good question, Brother Cohen.
Okay, when you buy it from the government, because sometimes the government sell the land, you understand? So when you're buying from the government, you still have to go to the local government to verify whatever document they give to you, to know that those, to be ensured those documents are in the system. Now, if you buy from the owner of the land, and the land do not have any CEO of you, then you have to put it on the system by yourself by going to the local government to register it in the local government area. You have to do that yourself and make sure it is registered.
Okay. Now, the next question from Cohen is, do you have a way of making monthly payments, incremental payment, basically monthly payments? Is there a system where you can do that at all?
Well, some real estate agency accept instrumental payment if you want to buy a land in Africa, because the real estate agency have already buy the property and it is on their own possession. Now, if you want to buy through them, they can accept monthly payment and they will tell you when you will be able to finish the payment.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we have government sell land too, and the relator agency, they sell land also, yes. So, yeah, it's best to buy from government or the relator, but they are much expensive. But when you go to the direct, when you go to the direct buy from individual.
Oh, you good, my brother. I was just
Okay. When you go to buy from the individual can sell you, but you have to make sure that the individual selling you the land truly belongs to him. So how can you know the land truly belongs to him? You have to go to his local government area and find out with this community if this land really belongs to him or her. They will ask you who wants to sell the land to you. They will ask the name of the person, and they will find out for you if the land truly belongs to him. If you are confused, you can still walk into the palace of the king and ask from the king. We have kings and we have the king palace. You can walk into the king's palace and ask the king who is the ruler leader in that community, and they will be able to help you to find out if this land is genuine, if this land belongs to somebody else and not who selling you the land. So, and majority prefer to go through the king to acquire a property because they believe it's coming from the true source.
Mm-hmm.
So there are many ways that you can do things legit and do things right, and you will know you're doing the right thing. You are going through the right source.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that with us. So we're going to get into this last question, back to the culture piece. We're going to close out with this. So dealing with the kings and queens there. Are there still kings and queens in the Igbo people?
Of course.
Okay.
There is the king, because the king, he is the one in charge of the community. He is the one in charge of his rural area, the community. You understand what I'm saying? He is the one before whatever the governor wants to do in that community, he will first of all consult the king, let the king know, consult the king, and also the local government chairman. They have to be aware of whatever the governor wants to do. Governor have to communicate with them, all of that, and also the president of the Republic of Nigeria too.
Okay. So the question is, are the people in the area subject to the ruling of the king?
Yes.
Okay. What role does the queen play? Do she have any say in what goes on? How does that work with the queen?
Well, the queen the queen have his own duties as a queen that he plays with the with the mothers, you know, with the women's side, because in the culture they have the women's side, they have the uh women's side, their own culture. So the queen will represent them, but the king represents general both women and men.
Okay. Now, do you have like high priest and priestesses, you know, and does the king consult the priest or the priestesses, or how does that work?
The what?
Does do the king consult the king or the queen? Do they consult like the high priest and the priestess? You know, like in spirituality, in the spiritual system, do they?
Yes, they do that. They do that. They do that. And you know, most of this is when this is when this is when you want to consult the high priest. This is when the voodoo power start coming in. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
told you it is a different part of his own temple.
Mm-hmm.
It is his own temple. So the king do consult them when when things are out of hand. For example, if they want to see something in spiritual, they want to review things in spiritual realm, they consult the chief priest.
Okay, Brother Cohen said very good info, and he said thank you very much for the clarity, brothers. You're welcome, King, and thank you for your questions. We appreciate that. Does anybody else have any questions that you want to pose to our brother? Anybody have any specific questions you would like to know before we close out? On Facebook, on YouTube, anybody in our Uwa Pele movement group on Facebook, any of you have any questions? Anything you need clarity on? Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right. Okay, Brother Cohen said one last question. What you got, King? Okay, the Queen, she asks, is there a good area to live in Nigeria? What's a good area to live in?
Well, there is a good area that you can live in Nigeria, and you will stay you will stay out of problems that you know that is happening in Nigeria. I would say that the Eastern Nigeria have less crime, and less problems uh, with the community, and it's more peaceful to stay there because they don't go through terrorism and all of that. So, and the east side is where the Igbos are, and they are more likely the Christian part.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my own Well, if you ask me, I would say it's more it's more safe there, and also in the Lagos also is safe too. And then when you come down to the east too, to the eastern Nigeria, where you have the Igbos, it's also safe. But I can't say that about the inside.
Okay. So we have the last question from Cohen Davis. And this question is: does one have to be a part of the religion to purchase land in the area?
No, you don't have to be part of the religion to purchase the land. The only thing they need is your money.
All right. Excellent question. So, Brother Fred, is there anything that you would like to share that we did not cover in our conversation that you would like to share with the people in our outro?
Okay. What I would like to share with our people, because I see everybody as one. As long as you have, as long as black and white, and I'm gonna speak for everybody now. We are one, and together we can make it, and with a better understanding.
You went out a little bit, my brother. You went out. We can't hear
Okay,
you. Yes, yeah, we can hear you now.
right. Not dealing on the past of what have happened
Mm-hmm.
with the black folks, you know, and but the most important thing I would like to share is because this society have put into bed to what we don't understand no more.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see young folks growing up without no directions, and things are getting out of hand. So what I will have to say is to this will go to the parents. When you are raising your kid, try to implement something good in them. And I want to let men and women to know that it takes two to bring a child in the world, and it takes two to raise them. Don't bring a child in the world if you know that you are not capable to raise that kid in the right way that he or she can grow and become useful to the society. Don't separate a child from the both parents. A child needs both parents to grow and have a proper understanding and have love while growing.
Hmm.
So, in doing this, the spirit of nature will keep on extending its blessing on you. And if you don't know where you come from, if you don't know your identity, it will be good if you can find your identity and know where you are coming from.
Absolutely.
Do your possible best to find your identity. And
Yes.
as you are doing this, the spirit of nature will keep on blessing you, because I believe in spirit of nature, and I also believe in the blessings of God. And to both other religions, because I respect everybody's religion, both
Mm-hmm.
the Muslim and the Christian, which I know that all the same, they are calling one God. And I also say, the one you believe, keep doing what is right, and let what you believe keep blessing you wherever you are coming from. And don't forget There is always nature, and there is a reward from nature. So do what is right so that you will receive a good reward. And always, always, always know that you have to take full accountability and responsibility of your actions and your decisions and the choices that you make. And when you are going into marriage, always know that marriage is for better, for worse. And going into marriage and planning for divorce is always idolatry. When you divorce, you are a sinner when you read your Bible well. So if you divorce and you come to preach the word of God to me, you are a liar. You are a joker. So that Bible you read also tells you that divorce is idolatry. So when anyone watching this video, making a choice of a man you want to get married or a woman you want to get married, know that, be prepared of what you're trying to involve yourself into, and respect that vow that you took of your marriage. And the spirit of nature will keep on blessing you, and whatever belief you have will keep on blessing you too. Man, black and white, everybody, I think that if we come together and stop this hatred, we can make this world a better place. And let us stop complaining about things that was happened, people that have been killed, and about the slaving thing. We, the white men, have already apologized, and we forgive them, and life goes on. So let's keep living life and enjoying this life and keep on doing the right thing. And the spirit of nature will keep on blessing us. This is all I have to tell everybody.
Wonderful. We greatly appreciate that. And then also, family, just keep in mind, remember, this is a African spiritual program. So with that being said, I have to make sure I clear up some things. Yeah. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because for us, we subscribe to our African spirituality. Okay. As we have discussed earlier, and it would be remiss of me being the overseer of this ministry not to make corrections. Okay. If we say that that book came from the European, which we know, then we need to leave it there. Okay. Because when you're talking about divorce, all right, here's where my view comes in at, because if a man beat up on a woman or abusing a woman, okay, and that Bible talks about if a man or woman, you know what I'm saying, has not committed adultery, okay, you know what I'm saying, they talk about grounds of divorce or adultery, things of this nature, okay, but to me, what is worse? Somebody having sex or somebody getting beat up? So what I must say as the minister of this temple is to make sure you use wisdom and don't stay in a relationship that you can possibly be killed in. Okay. And this is the problem with religion. Okay. You know, you got to be wise and you have to be very careful about you subscribing to ideologies that these men say that this God had allegedly told them. Okay. You have to live by your own ori, your own spirit, your own intellect. Use your intelligence as well. Okay. And make sure that you look out for your well-being physically and your children, especially if you have a child or children, for our sisters out there. All right. So we don't play that here. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I protect, you know, and I refuse to let the European come here and mess our minds up even more than what has already been done. Okay. So this is the reason why we subscribe to our spirituality. So I just want to make sure, family, in closing, for all of those who listen and all those who follow, you know how we do over here. Okay, reconnect with your spirituality from our culture, okay, that our ancestors passed down to us before we were colonized. Okay, this is the reason why that is not our way of life. Okay, so make sure again that you continue to tune in. Remember, on next week on Tuesday, we're gonna have Babalu Alfalajiki on here from Nigeria, okay, who is of the Yoruba people. Okay, he's gonna come on, he's gonna share the Yoruba way of life. Okay, so we thank you all for tuning in. So as I go out, I would like to go out in the way that I came in, with some good music from our brother that shared this with me. All right, for my queen, Amani, Amari, and I, we love you. We appreciate all your love and support.
Be well with y'all, everybody. As I wave this, keep playing my music, okay? As I keep wearing my truthful stuff, you shall be well with everybody. Wherever you are, in the United States, in the Asia country, here in my world, in Africa, it shall be well with y'all. Whatever anybody plan against you, as long as you are doing what is right, may the God of the land keep protecting you and guiding you as you keep doing what is right in the society. Don't support evil. When you see evil, you speak the truth. Stand for truth, and the gods of the ancestors will be your guidance.
I say, oh,
it shall be well with you, everybody.
I say. And for my queen, Amadi Mara, and I, we want to thank you all for your love and support. Please ensure that you follow us on Instagram. Okay, for those who are not on our Instagram page yet, and for those who are not on our YouTube channel, please ensure that you go there. We have a lot of powerful videos as such, and we have a playlist full of more African studies teachings, numerous ones in our El Kebalan culture playlist. Okay, so make sure you go there and check it out. Also, in our spirituality playlist, we have a lot of teachings there as it relates to spirituality. Okay, so we want to be a blessing to you. Again, we appreciate all of you. Thank you all for your comments and your questions. We love y'all. We pray you continue to have a blessed rest of your day. Peace.